Hey guys, welcome to the stream. Got some questions we're going to answer tonight. Did the Knicks run out of gas? Who has been the best Knicks performer during the last 10-game stretch? What's going on ever since Jalen Brunson went down? Net rating is low. Maybe we'll find an answer for that tonight. There's a couple of more things we'll talk about on this week. Well, not this week. Tonight on the Knicks in 10. Let's go, y'all. What's good, family? Tough loss tonight, but the good news is we will not be talking about the loss. This is the Knicks in 10 show. So welcome if you just joined the show. And if this is your first time on the channel, this show is dedicated to tracking the Knicks each and every 10 games. So tonight we'll be talking about games 61 through 70. So tonight's game, you know, I know y'all want to talk about it. Y'all probably already talked about it. I mean, we talked about it in the Discord server, but this is not what tonight's show is going to be about. This show is going to be about those games that I said as I make sure I got all my notes together. Okay, cool. So that's what this show is going to be about. All right. It's not going to be about the game. Now, I'm going to start with doing a 10-game snapshot so we can see where we are. Of course, we know it's been difficult with the cap out. Just get I'm not sure what happened to my window. Hold on, let me just put this in research mode so you guys can see what I'm looking at. And we're going to start off just looking at my notes. So we're going to start with the 10-game snapshot. But salute to everybody in the building. Salute to Maxine. Salute to On Dios. Superman. Knicks 100. Uh-oh. Well, Knicks 100, I'm not going to lie. This is not going to be that type. Oh, my mic. Testing. Testing. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Oh, my mic was fine? So you guys can still hear me? Let me know if you guys can still... Okay, cool. Because I wasn't sure if it was working in this mode. So yeah, these are the notes. This is what we're going to be going through. But let me say salute to some more people in the chat. My mic is fine. Okay, great. Cool. So yeah, welcome to the show. On the screen, I got some standing stats, but let me see what's up. Oh, Knicks 100. I see you in the building. And no Knicks 100. I'm not going to tell you how great we are. If you guys seen from the thumbnail, we're down. And let me show you what I'm talking about. So on the screen, I got 3 different 10-game stretches. I'm going to start with last year. So hopefully you guys can read my handwriting. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. Let me zoom in. Okay, so this is the 10-game stretch from last season, 23-24, games 61 through 70, right? And we went 7-3 during this stretch. This honestly was one of the best, probably the best stretch of the season because we beat a lot of really good teams during this stretch. And we went 7-3, overall 42-28. So right now, this team is technically 2 games behind where we are now during this stretch. Okay, so we're still ahead of last year's performance. For those of you guys that want to know, this year up until that point, we are 44-26. So 2-game lead on that. But this was, like I said, one of the best stretches. We beat Cleveland. Cleveland, you know, they were a good team last year, not like how they were this year. Orlando was good. We actually lost the season series to Orlando last year. Philadelphia was good, even though they struggled with Embiid being in and out of the lineup. Sacramento was good, and Golden State were good. We got all of those wins last season, and the only bad loss came to Atlanta. Seems like Atlanta always is a thorn in our side. That was that stretch, right? So I'm gonna fast forward to this year. This is the last 10 game stretch before the 10 game stretch we're gonna talk about tonight. 24-25. All right, so 51 through 60 games. Same thing with 7-3. Our record at the time was 40-20, and it was the best record since 1997. Okay, the 40 wins up until this point in the season. And we only had 2 good wins, but we dominated the sub 500 teams and no bad losses. Okay, now I'm gonna fast forward. Okay, this is this season. Okay, 24-25. We'll be looking at, like I said, games 61 through 70. We went 4-6. This is the worst stretch of the season. Now, like I said, we've been tracking the 10 game stretches since the beginning. If you want to go back as far as the first 10 game stretch, this is even worse than that. That stretch, the first 10 games, we went 5-5. Okay. And so this is definitely one of the worst times. But of course, when you lose Jalen Brunson, now I'm not here to make excuses, right? But something could be said about when you lose your best player, your team will not perform to the level they're used to performing. So Brunson got hurt in the Los Angeles game. Ever since the Los Angeles game up until the Washington game, that's all we're going to talk about, right? We're not going to talk about the last 2 games. So you had a record of 5-4. No, is that 5-4? Yeah, 5-4 without your cat. No, 4-4. So we went 500 pretty much. 500, 4-4. And I said that on one, I can't remember the show I said that on. I said that as long as we go 500, we'll be fine. And that's what we are. We are a 500 team without Brunson. Now, the 2 losses to San Antonio and Charlotte, pretty bad. Pretty bad. Okay. So what happened through this stretch? What happened? Knicks 100. Tell me what happened during this stretch. So besides Brunson being hurt, the defense definitely improved, but the 3-point defense is still bad. And I'm going to get to that in a second. But I wanted to start off showing you guys a snapshot and letting you guys know exactly what we're going to be talking about tonight. And if you just joined the show, and like I said, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. And if you are a subscriber, right, consider joining the channel. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to shift gears. we're going to talk about some standing stats. Okay. We're going to talk about some standing stats. So right now, if I get the differential in there, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Okay, cool. So these are the standing stats, okay? Now, I screenshotted this right up until the 70 game mark. We're the 3rd seed in the East still, right? Which is a place I think we're going to finish there. Even though we haven't been looking pretty good recently, I think that is safe to say we will finish at the 3rd seed. Indiana, I think, lost tonight. Even though we lost tonight, Indiana also lost. And I think Milwaukee also lost. So, and I think Detroit is now the 5th seed. But anyway, at the moment in time, right, because this is what we're going to be talking about. We got Detroit will be the pending matchup at this point in time. And I'm looking forward to a Detroit Piston matchup. Now, a lot of injury news came out. Things might have shifted. Milwaukee looks to probably be the team to fall. But I'm going to say this. Even with our losses, I still think that we will hold on strong. And I think that we could beat any of these teams in the first round. Indiana, Milwaukee, etc. Now, I want to start off with this stat. Below 500 teams, right? And I'm going to move through this. But below 500 teams. Now, the way a lot of the other people calculate stats, they go by what your record is, right? So and that's one way you could do it. So let's use Miami for an example, right? Right now, no, I'm sorry. Let's use Atlanta. Let's use Atlanta as an example. They're the 7th seed right now, right? 35-36. If we were to play Atlanta today and beat them, they would be a sub 500 team. 3 days later, if they win 3 games later, if they win those 3 games, they then become an above 500 team. So they'll remove that win as beating a team that's sub 500 to a team that's above 500. I don't like calculating a stat like that because I respect where you are in your record, right? So I don't change. So my below 500 and above 500 team stat, 500 and above team stat is different from what they will tell you. Okay, so I'm just going to start like that. So based on what I calculated, like I said, I don't shift the loss. So like Atlanta, if we lose to Atlanta, that stays as a loss. So this is how I came up with the number for all my people that's going to be in there and say, oh, your stat is wrong. What are you talking about? My stats are right. I just calculated differently. All right. So I'm just letting you guys know off the rip. So currently against above 500 teams, right? And that's not on the screen, but I'm just going to tell you, we are 26-7 against below 500 teams, 26-7. Okay. And during the stretch of games 51 through 60, we were 23-5. So we got 3 wins, 2 losses. Of course, the 2 losses, the San Antonio kid named Sandro, pretty bad. But I will still say, even though last season, based on what I calculated, we finished 35 and 6 against sub 500 teams last season. Okay. So we lost 1 more game than we did last season. Like I said, this is based off how I calculate the stat. Okay. So don't shoot me. Now, still impressive, but I didn't want to lose another game to a sub 500 team. I'm going to keep it real because I felt like last year, that's what propelled us to the 50 wins. Okay. So let me see who's in the building. Knicks 100. Oh my God. Hard can't stop nothing. 1v1. Don't let the triple doubles confuse you. What's our record against top 10 offenses? That's what matters. Well, I mean, against 500 and above teams, we're 18-19, right? Up until that point in the season. So we sub 500. You know, hopefully that helps. Knicks 100. I know Knicks 100 is going to be extra critical. I don't know where we are against top 10 offenses. Here's why that stat is hard to track. Knicks 100. It changes. So like you could be a top 10 offense 1 week, and then the next week you could be in the middle, right? So it's hard to know where you are against top teams. But I will say this, Knicks 100, I will consider keeping track of that next season because so you guys ain't going to be able to recognize it, but I'm going to still show it anyway. So like all of these like different columns you see there, it's a different strat that I track. So I actually could do that. It's just that it's 70 games in. And I haven't kept track of it since the beginning of the year, but I'll make note of that. And so next season, I will be able to calculate that number. But it's going to be hard to calculate it or even find someone because, like I said, that number is going to change over time. But I'm gonna calculate that record against teams with above 500 offenses. I like that. Okay, so yeah, I'll do that next year, Knicks 100. But like Maxine says, definitely smash that like button if you hadn't already. I'm going to go win tonight. Now, as far as above 500 teams, we were doing good. Last time we came and spoke about this during games 51 through 60, we were 17-15. So we were above 500. Now we're tracking below that. Part of it was Jalen Brunson. And if I could go back to the 10-game snapshot, you know, we lost to a lot of good teams. Golden State was an opportunity. Twice. Los Angeles Lakers, another opportunity. The Clippers, and I know we lost to the Clippers tonight as well. So there were some opportunities to at least stay above 500, but we just dropped the ball. It is what it is. It happens. You ain't got your captain, so it is what it is at this point in time. There's nothing we can really do about that. Now, this is for my man Sam. Salute to my man Sam, because he asked me what was the record against teams at home versus the road. So against teams that's 500 and above on the road, we are 8-8. Okay, so we're actually not as bad, okay, against teams on the road as we are well, let me take that back. We are bad. Let me take that back. I mean, we're barely pushing 500. So let me just scrap that thought. And let me just double check something really quickly to make sure my my tracking is right. Okay, so yeah, 8-8. So yeah, we're 8-8. We actually got a better record on the road because at home, right? We are 8-9 at home. So our road record is better than against above 500 teams. So it is what it is at this point in time. I want to stay above 500 against 500 and above teams. I think that would mark us as being a really good team, but it's a struggle. I mean, it's up and down. Like if you just look at the Western Conference, right? If you look at I'm gonna show you how up and down it is. We got swept by the Rockets. I mean, by the Thunder. We split games with the Rockets. We beat the Denver Nuggets twice. We got swept by the Lakers, but then we sweep the Grizzlies. We got swept by the Warriors and swept by the Clippers. We went 1-1 with the Timberwolves, and we went 2-0 against the Kings. So that's just how we've been performing. It's just been pretty inconsistent against above 500 teams. Let me keep it moving. Below 500 teams on the road, we're 12-5. At home, we're 14-2. So pretty good usually against below 500 teams, especially at home, the 14-2 mark. I take that, and that is counting the two losses that we technically lost those two games on the road. So that's what brought up our road record from 12, from where it was previously. It was 13. It was 12-2. Now it's 12-5, right? Because we lost multiple games against below 500 teams on the road. Okay. Now this is the stat I want to talk about. That's the most important stat, and you can see it on the screen. Besides wins, losses, games back, right? The most important standing stat is differential. This is why the Oklahoma City Thunder, they might be one of the best teams. Honestly, they're my pick to win the championship. Besides us, of course, listen, I'm always going to root for the Knicks, right? Salute to the Knicks. But because I'm the objective fan, we got to keep it real. The Oklahoma City Thunder is on pace to have the best differential in the history of basketball. All the other teams that's in the top, can't remember the teams off the head. I think it's the Bulls, the Lakers. I can't remember who's up there. I think it's some old teams from the 70s too. Either way, all those teams that's in the top of the differential with the Oklahoma City Thunder, those teams won the championship. So Oklahoma City, I mean, the way it's looking, unless a major injury happens, they should win the championship. So I'm going to scroll up. So when I asked the question on the thumbnail, are we running out of gas? The reason why I asked it, one of the main reasons, is because of the differential. Based off our prior history, during games 51 through 60, this is when we saw the big dip in differential, right? Because the competition also grew. I'm going to go back to the 10-game snapshot so you guys can see. So even though we went 7-3, our differential, it dropped from 6.6 to 4.5. 6.6 to 4.5. That's a 2-point drop. I told you guys earlier, if you guys remember watching this show, I said, look, if the Knicks can hold a 6-point net rating or point differential that's when we know that this team is definitely a dangerous team. Still capable of doing work. It's just that how we judge teams, partially how we judge teams is based off of differential. That's why we track that stat. And Cleveland, they're a very good regular season team. Right now, they got the best differential in the East. Will it hold up in the playoffs? I don't know, but I tell you this. Even though they did lose 4 games in a row, okay, they did lose 4 games in a row. I have to give them the the credit that they might be the best. It pains me to say this. They might be the best team in the East. They might be the best team in the East. Celtics, they're maintaining the 8.8, basically a 9-point differential. That's major too. I mean, Boston's dealing with some injuries. And let me see if I could put it on the screen to see where these guys are tracking at, just to have fun. But yeah, Boston's improved on their differential while Cleveland came down. So they went from 11.5 to 10.9, and Boston actually has gone up 0.3 of a point. So, or 0.2 of a point. So, clearly those teams have been the best team in the East all year. Indiana Pacers, I'm still not sold on the Pacers. They have trouble cracking the 1.4 mark. That to me matters a lot. Right? You can't get past. And the same thing with the Lakers. Right? The Lakers, they barely could they're barely above positive. And it's been like this the whole season. Right? It's been like this the whole season. So my thing is, in the playoffs, in the postseason, how will these teams perform when they haven't shown the level of dominance that, like, a lot of people would say, right? Here's what I'm trying to say. So if the Lakers were to face the Houston Rockets in the playoffs, any round, a lot of people would favor the Lakers. But what I would tell you is that the Houston Rockets has been a more dominant team as compared to their opponents. And they're a way better defensive team. So if you're just an analytics guy, you would probably favor the Rockets to win that series. But because the Lakers have LeBron James and Luka and the eye test and the way it looks, you're probably going to go with the Lakers in that series. So it's like, even I'm kind of conflicted on that as well. Because yes, I see what the numbers is telling me. Same thing with Memphis, 5.2. Memphis has the second best differential in the West. Even though they're not the second best team record-wise, what that tells me is that Memphis, they have games where they're smacking teams. And I know Knicks 100 in the chat, if he's still here, Knicks 100 is going to say, I told you about the Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies going to come out the way. He said something about the Grizzlies. You can say it again. Wait, hold on. Who's disrespecting the Cavs? Oh, you know what? I can't see. I could only see the type chat. So if anyone's disrespecting the Cavs, stop. By the way, give a big time salute to Yuri in the building. I'm not disrespecting the Cavs. So if someone's disrespecting the Cavs, that's on them. Cavs are a good team. Will it translate to the playoffs? Now, like I said, there is no direct correlation to regular season success and to playoff success, meaning that if Cleveland is beating OKC, and we know they split games, there's no guarantee that Cleveland's going to win the series, right? You still got to play the game. All I'm saying is that in the regular season, the reason why I know the Knicks are the third best team in the East is because they had the third best differential all year, okay? Now, I'm going to move forward from the standard stats. You can look at the conference record and all that stuff, but I'm going to move forward because I don't want to make this show too much longer. And there's a lot more stats I want to get into. So, some other ways I could do this. Let me see. Do I go to Basketball Reference? You go to Basketball Reference. I could also go here Um, so look, this is the team stats. This is a screenshot of NBA.com. I'm getting more familiar with NBA.com. I prefer Basketball Reference, but NBA.com has more at its, at your disposal. I mean, Basketball Reference has a lot too, but like NBA.com has more controls once you get familiar with it. So what I have here right now is just the last 10 games, their performance in the last 10 games. Some of the key numbers that we'll be looking at, right? Now, of course, we went sub 500, right? But we're shooting 44% from the field in the last 10 games. That's not good. It's not good at all. The field goal has been our bread and butter. On the year, we're averaging 48%. We're fourth in field goal percentage overall. Okay. But in the last 10 games, and excuse me as I jump, I'm gonna be jumping around. In the last 10 games, we're shooting 44% from the field. Right? Coach Tibbs, salute to Coach Tibbs. I'm not trying to take no dumps on him. But he said in the beginning of the season that he would like this team to shoot 43s. We never went anywhere near 43s. Right? And we got 35 threes up, made 12. Okay, on the season, we're basically around our averages. We averaged 12.6 threes made and 34.2 attempted. That's good for 23rd and 27th in the league. So it's just not a good look, right? Not a good look, even though our 3-point percentage is still 37, about 37%, but we dropped in our ranking. Last time we looked at 3-point shooting percentage, we were, tell you the exact number. So we were 37.2%. We dropped 0.4% in terms of our 3-point shooting percentage, and now we're in the 36% range. So the offense has been suffering. And I told you guys, I said, like, hey, a lot of you guys are talking about defense, but what about the offense? Mitch has definitely made an impact on defense, and I'm going to get to that in a second. But the 3-point percentage, 34%, not good. Rebounding is all right, 44 rebounds. But let me show you guys what's been the problem with the rebounds, right? So what's been the problem with the rebounds is we're averaging 44, which is great, but we're giving up 42.3 rebounds to the opposing team. So that means that our differential, which was pretty good, we would at one point we were +2 on the glass. We're now 0.7, plus 0.7 on the glass. And we went from number 2 or number 1 to now we're number 4 in terms of holding opponents off of the glass. So yeah, the rebounds went up a little bit, but what's going on? We got the great Mitchell Robinson. In the game against the Spurs, we had Mitchell Robinson and Towns. They didn't even have a starting center, and they still out-rebounded us. So all of the things that's happening is not just the cap is not there, right? Because yes, the defense has gotten better, or so it appears to have been gotten better, but at the same time, the offense has taken a hit. Definitely taking a hit. Let me see what you guys talking about in the chat. Only problem with the Grizzlies is rookies starting in the playoffs. Yeah, they going. That's what I'm saying. Like in the regular season, Knicks 100, they look great. But in the playoffs, when you're going to have to deal with like veteran teams like the Lakers, right? Even the Warriors. And I hope the Warriors don't make the playoffs. By the way, look, quick sidebar. Am I wrong for wishing that, you know, the Knicks lost tonight because I have a bet on the Warriors and I needed the Clippers to win and push the Warriors out the playoffs? I think I'm wrong for that. I wasn't as mad as I normally would be off of a loss. But I say these things to say, like, the team like the Clippers is another team that I wouldn't be surprised if they beat the Grizzlies in the playoff series. The only team, I mean, the OK City Thunder has been so dominant on the over the regular season, and I do believe that you are what your record is. I think I would be surprised if they lose, like, in the second round or the conference finals, because I mean, differential wise, they're performing like great teams in history. So I don't know. Let me see what else on the offense I want to talk about. Of course, free throw shooting. You know, we still, in terms of percentage, we still shoot 80%. So that's been pretty good. 2-point percentage, I mean, definitely 2-point percentage. About 56% from two, but even though we dropped in our ranking, we were fifth, we dropped down to seventh, but it is what it is. I'm not really tripping over the top 10 ranking. As long as you're in the top 10, I'm not mad at it. But here's the thing too: free throw attempts, we make 16.6 a game, right? We dropped in our ranking 4 spots. And we lost a couple of percentage points. A little bit less free throws during this stretch. And that's to be expected by captain. But Mikal Bridges has stepped his free throws up. And I'm going to get to individual stats in a second. Points have been pretty near the 117 mark, even though we did drop. We dropped down a little bit on points. We went from 5th to 9th, and we dropped a whole point in points. Like I said, part of that, I think, is Jalen Brunson and defense, and that's where your priorities are. So that's just where it's been. As far as assists, even though we still getting out over 27 assists a game, we dropped in ranking. So we went from, well, no, technically, no, we're the same in assists. We didn't drop off too much. We lost a couple of tenths of a point, but that's fine. So our assists are pretty good. And so, but even to the people that are saying the ball movement is better without Brunson, there's some credence to that. You know, at first I was kind of debating it, but 26.5 is not bad. It's not bad. It's below average, but it's not bad. Would Brunson be in there? Will we have more assists? I don't know. But as long as we stay around the 27 assist mark, I'm going to tell you why later on, why that is a positive number. There's some magical numbers with this team that I'm noticing, and one of the numbers is 27 assists. Turnovers, we still protect the ball well. I mean, we pretty much stayed in the top 4 spot. Now, here's an area that improved really, really well, and that is drawing fouls. So we went from 19th to 11th in drawing fouls. So that's a major jump in our ranking, and I'm happy that the Knicks are doing a better job at getting to the line. Even though they're not attempting more free throws, they are getting teams to commit to fouling them more. Now, even though the free throw percentage is well, we're dropping off in terms of attempts and makes and 3 points. And like we talked about 3 points already. The 3-point attempts need to be more, especially if you're going to compete in today's NBA. Now, I want to talk about the defensive side. Before I move, let me move. Okay, we talking about Kolek. Kolek. I'm gonna say this about Kolek. Kolek looks really good to me. He reminds me of TJ McConnell with a 3-point shot, even though he didn't really do well shooting threes today. It's kind of hard to be thrusted into the, starting mix when you've been coming off the bench and you haven't played with the starters. You can see his chemistry with the bench guys because he spent some time on the bench. Now with the starters, it's a little rough. But Kolek, I think he'll be all right. Knicks 100 Grizzly will be anyone in the West if Ja is healthy. Bingo. That's another thing, too, with Memphis. They get hurt. Too many injuries at the wrong time. And Jaren Jackson is nice. He's nice, for real. I wasn't a fan of his game, but he can lock you down and get buckets. He's like a Julius Randle that could play defense. And is not as, I don't want to say selfish. I'm going to say he could defer more. So I'm going to talk about defense. Defense is always a problem, an issue with this team. So even though we improved, we went to the 14th ranking and defensive rating. I'm going to tell you exactly where we were last time. So we went from 20th to 14th. That's a major jump. I'm going to salute that. The defense has been, a lot of the aspects of defense improved, but it's not top 10 worthy defense. I can't cap. And let me see if I got. So this is the net rating and advanced ratings last 10 games, right? So defensive rating overall 109, way better. Okay, that's way above the 114 mark, right? Or below, but below in defensive rating is better than higher. So 109, the lesser the number, the better it is on defense. And of course, in wins, our defense, look at the defensive rating in wins, 102. Incredible. When we lose, it goes towards where our average is around 114, a little less than what our average is. So even in our losses, our defensive rating has been pretty solid. I'm just showing you where the mouse is. That's what I'm looking at, okay? Because I know it's a lot of information on the screen. And sometimes when you're looking at NBA.com, it can make your head explode. So I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. This is what I'm looking at right here. Okay? All right. Now, I don't care about none of these other advanced stats. I'm not the super advanced dude. I do look at the advanced stats that's important. But yeah, defensive rating has been better in the last 10 games than our average. So typically, that's how I would rank, like how well we're doing, is if it's better than what we average. So defense has been slightly better, even in losses, okay? Now, don't care about blocks. Here is the problem with the Knicks. Opponents' 3-point makes. Now, even though we're top 15 in terms of opposing teams' makes, part of the reason why the opposing team does not make more threes is because we play at a slower pace, and we tend to dictate pace. So yes, the Knicks will attack in transition and fast breaks and things of that nature, but we operate in the half court. We take our time. That's why the pace is slow. It has nothing to do with fast break. Fast break and pace is two different things, right? Now, of course, if you're playing at a faster pace, you can probably get more fast break opportunities, but it doesn't have to do directly with this fast break. Fast break is just usually initiated in transition. So in transition, we run and we attacking. Okay, that's the usual thing that we do. But because we play at a slower pace, I think that's the reason why teams shoot lesser threes. But okay, that's just makes. Okay, when we look at 3-pointers attempted, they're attempting 36, which is top 7 in the league. We're getting up 36 threes a game. We take 34 threes a game. So So that means that the opposing team gets 2 more threes than us, and they make 1 more three than us. Not only that, the opposing teams come in there and they shoot better than what we shoot. And we were 9th ranked in 3-point shooting. The opposing team is shooting 37.4%. We're shooting 36.8%. That's 28th in the league. So if you want to be a positive about it, we went from 30th, and I could show you. This is the 60 game mark. So, 29th. Okay. We went from 29th to 28th, but we still giving up 37 threes a game. 37.5 threes a game. Percentage-wise, 37.5%. Okay? That's what we're giving up every single night. 37% is a magical number. I'm going to show you why in a second. I'm going to get to that. I'm just going through some of this team defense stats. I'm going to move faster because I want to make this replay a little shorter for the people that's going to watch it and, later on. Okay? Now, if you want to give us credit on defense, steals. We have become a steal machine. We actually improved on steals. We went from 21st in steals to 16th in steals just by coming up 0.2 of a point. So that's a salute right there. And let me see if I can show you in a 10-game snapshot. No, in the team standings. So this is what we're averaging during the 10-game stretch. If you follow my mouse, okay, we're averaging 9.2 steals. 9.2 steals during this 10-game stretch. The boys is definitely getting some steals, right? And that could be a major weapon for us because because with the increase in steals, we've also increased forcing turnovers. We moved to the top 15 in forcing turnovers, forcing 14.5 turnovers. And that to me can yield to a big time advantage. Okay, definitely salute the Big Dog Talk Sports in the building. This is a Knicks in 10 show. This is for some hardcore Knicks fans. We just going over numbers and just seeing exactly where we are. Yuri's talking about the game. Tonight is not about the game. Tonight is about the Knicks in 10. Okay, I'm trying to take your mind off of the game. Okay, and that's all for defense. That's all for team defense. I'm going to move to player stats. Some things I noticed about player stats. Now, hold on. Let me zoom out. NBA.com. I like Basketball Reference way better. But NBA.com gives me the last 10 games. Okay. So, all right. Bet. So these are what the guys are averaging over the last 10 games. I highlighted some things I want to talk about. Now, Karl-Anthony Towns pretty much giving you what he's averaging on the season, except the boards. It's a little low. Giving you about 10. He's averaging around 13. A lot of people attributed the limited rebounds to like Towns not being 100%. I think Towns is fine. The knee condition he has is something that he's going to have to deal with for the season, but it's not an injury that's going to keep you out of the game. Usually, if the inflammation becomes too severe, he'll sit out. But we haven't seen that, and he hasn't really been on the injury report as of late. My guy that I kind of mentioned in the intro that I felt like was really performing at a big-time level was OG Anunoby. In fact, let me give him a New York City salute. OG Anunoby during this 10-game stretch, he's averaging 20 points a game. No, his field goal percentage is not that efficient because he's extra aggressive, but his three-point percentage is 37%. That's where we want OG. We want OG shooting above 36% from three. I could live with the 41% from the field. I'll take that. But he's also averaging 1.9 steals. So his defense, he's stepping up his defense, and steals is one of the things that gets him going because he usually gets at least a dunk every time he gets a steal. So OG Anunoby is performing really well. Mikal Bridges is also performing really well to me. 19.5 points, His field goal percentage is 55%. I mean, he just needs to shoot more. He's getting 13.6 shots a game. OG's getting more shots than him. This is why I teased the question. Should OG Anunoby be the third option? He's getting more shots than Mikal since Brunson's been out, but he just looks way more comfortable doing more in the offense to me than Mikal. Mikal, yes, like tonight, he had great moments. Even the previous game, he had great moments. But OG has been a consistent 20 ball this whole stretch. I'm not going to lie. He's been a consistent 20 ball. Even if he's not leading the team in scoring, he's been a consistent 20 ball. Mikal, he'll get 20 something one night, then he'll get 16, 15 the next night. OG has been a consistent 20 ball. So that's why I posed the question about maybe making OG the second option. By the way, salute to Yuri and salute to you, Big Dog Talk Sports. I have in the comment pin, I forgot to announce this. I'm trying to do a watch party, okay, for the playoffs, the first game of the playoffs. We don't know the exact game in terms of like the exact date they're going to play. We know it will be the 18th or the 19th. That's when the playoff starts. If you are interested in watching the game, click on the link in the description, in the chat. I have it pinned, and it will also be in the description at the end of this video. I'm curious to see how many people want to come out. We're trying to get spaces, so be sure to click on that link that's in the description, okay, to RSVP if you want to watch the game with us. It'll probably be in either Manhattan, Queens, or Brooklyn. I'm looking for spots, but I'm trying to get a gauge of who's going to come out. So please fill out the form if you hadn't already, so that way we know if you know how many people is actually going to come out. My man J Tap from the Bay, he's from Brooklyn, but he's in the Bay. He's going to fly out. So we getting together regardless, right? I just want to know how many of you guys want to come out to watch the first game, okay? So fill out that form in the description and in the chat. Now, Josh Hart, Josh Hart's numbers is down, right? His scoring numbers are down. His rebounding numbers stayed the same. His assist numbers 5.6. He's averaging 5.7. So his assists, he held his assist numbers, right? As far as Deuce McBride, he's somebody who I expected, more out of. Being that he's a starter, he's giving you 10 points, 34% from the field. Not good. 35% from three is not bad, but 34% from the field, we got to do more, Deuce. I know he's guarding the best point guard or guard on the floor when he starts, but we need more production out of that one spot. Campaign not getting enough time. And yeah, so I want to jump over to the advanced side, right? Now, when we look at some of the advanced stats, now I'm only paying attention to defensive rating, offensive. I don't care about assist turnover. No, assist turnover is important, but we don't got assist guys like that. I'm sticking to net rating or defensive, these three stats right here, pretty much, okay? These three stats right here. So when we look at these three stats right here, everybody's defensive rating improved. OG Anunoby, his defensive rating on the year, I'm going to scroll down and tell you. So OG Anunoby is 115 on the year, okay? He's during this stretch, he's 111. Josh Hart, 109. Defensive rating. Mikal Bridges, 109. His defensive rating is like 119 on the year. Mikal, 118 on the year. Mikal Bridges, defensive rating ever since, notice the change, and we've been talking about this, ever since Mikal Bridges has been on two guards and wing guys, his defensive rating improves. But here's another major key to this whole thing. Look at Deuce McBride's defensive rating. 105. That's the best. Well, actually, Landry Shamet is the best, but I'm not going to count Landry Shamet's 100, even though I like it in campaigns 102 because they're coming off the bench. Deuce is starting, giving you the 105. Coming off the bench, you could be guarding Yeah. Okay. You could be guarding somebody that's not that good. And defensive rating, the only thing it doesn't tell you is the quality of the person you're guarding. So Deuce McBride has been guarding the opposing point guards, starting guards, and his rating is 105. He looks good in this role. He won't, of course, when Brunson come back, he won't be there. But man, and of course, Mitchell Robinson, the 106 is pretty impressive, even though he's coming off the bench. So the defensive rating has been better for everybody. As far as plus minus, so when we look at plus minus, and salute to you guys if you just joined the chat, this is the Knicks and 10 show. Oh, JJP said he can't pull up. Let me know if I do one in the A. Okay, I'm not in the A. I'm in New York, but for sure. I mean, I would love to take the show on the road, maybe one day. But right now we only doing it in New York. But I appreciate that, JJP. I know you will pop out. Knicks 100. Hopefully you will pop out. Wait, Knicks 100. You talking about you love OG, but he a bot? What? Knicks 100. You gotta stop. Shamit, you can't count Shamit because he's not playing against starters. He's playing against bench guys. All right, so yes, I'm gonna give him credit. They're all playing good defense. The entire bench is doing well, but come on, you got to factor in who you're guarding, right? You got to factor that in. That's a part of the packaging, right? That's a part of the packaging, right? Now I'm gonna move on to plus minus. Now, plus minus is really telling me a bigger story, like. Because it's all tied in the net rating. All this stuff is just like, entwined, right? Everybody's net rating is down. I mean, everybody's plus minus is down. Mikel's, his on-court 5.5. Josh Hart 3.8. OG Anunoby 5. Oh, remember, OG Anunoby was the plus minus god. When we first looked at OG Anunoby, hold on. I'm going to go back to 10 games. We've been keeping track of these stats all years, right? All year. Hold on. Let me see if I can keep the plus minus in the first week. I don't want to use the first week because this is the first 10 games. I mean, yes, his numbers is great. That would be disingenuous of me. Let me go to 20 games. Okay? Because I like to have a body of work when I'm looking at the stats. Right? So this is 20 games in, okay? Now, when we look at the 20 games in, look at OG. He's 8.6, 7.9. He was holding this for most of the season. Right? He's the only starter at this point that really has a really good on-off. You see that? Fast forward to today. Let me zoom out. You fast forward to today and look at OG Anunoby. 5 and 2.4. Still positive though. Still a force when he's on the court, but it's not the numbers that we were used to seeing from OG when he was the plus minus god. Now, Towns probably has the best plus minus consistently as starters, though Mikel improved his on-off. This is how I knew Mikel was doing okay, despite like him, having some inconsistencies on offense where he'll get 29, then he'll get 15. Like he's not a consistent 20, or at least he hasn't been. But his on-off, especially now he's off guarding point guards, his on-off just shot up. Okay. And Josh Hart, he's been struggling with his on-off, but his on-court has always been positive. All these guys on-court are positive, except Precious. Precious is the only one with a negative on-court. Now, On Dios, if you're still listening, I know you. On Dios does not like Precious, but maybe there's something there. Maybe this is why Precious. And I honestly, guys, I believe Coach Tibbs pays strong attention to net rating, on court, off court. I think he really does. because Precious Achua is a liability on the floor. Minus 7.6 on off. That's the worst on the team. Worst on the team. Jalen Brunson, his numbers are wacky because, you know, he's. How do I explain Jalen Brunson? All right, I'm going to say it like this. He has a positive on court. So if a player has a positive on court, I'm not really too concerned about the on off. It's when the player has a double negative, like Precious. That's a problem. But if you at least got the positive on court and your on off is negative, all the on off is saying is that when you're on the floor, you are, I'm gonna say, just not as efficient, right? You're detracting from the team. That's what the on off means. If it's a positive number, you're a positive impact to the team. If it's negative, that means that you're taking away from the team. But his on court is positive at plus 2.4, so that's why I'm not tripping too much on the on off. You know, I'm not tripping too much on it. You can't just look at, you gotta look at the advanced stats in context. Like, I'm going to give you the perfect example. Down here, Matt Ryan, right? So you look at this, you'd be like, damn, Matt Ryan is a minus 26 and a minus 31, but he's playing in garbage time. So you got to look at these things in context. Like, look, PJ Tucker is the greatest in history. 66 on court, 66 off court. He's playing in garbage time. So, yeah, you got to understand the context before you just look at numbers. Knicks 100 says, I don't like Mikal. Mikal not a winner? Is it you say that because he didn't win a championship? Shaman has been solid, though. I can't front on Shaman. I'm not going to front on him. But, you know, he's not a starter. So he's not a starter. So I expect his numbers to be okay, rating-wise. Oh, Buggin'. HR the Great. Salute to HR and the Great in the house. Channel member Knicks Tape Madness Discord server. He said Buggin'. Okay. He's just not a winner. I don't know. What makes Mikal not a winner? He went to the finals. Right? He balled out when he went to Brooklyn. I don't know. I don't know why you say he's not a winner. He's not a first option or second option. He's a third option. Okay. He can't explain, but Mikal not it. I mean, his plus minus is excellent. He has the best on court and on off of any starter. And his on court is down. So yeah, he's effective on the court. I think a lot of it had to do with him moving to the 2 defensively, or the 3, however you want to call the positions. So yeah, he improved his on court dropped a little bit. But this was 60 games in. But it's still over 5, so just saying. Now, some stats I'm going to get into, I don't have it on the screen, but I'm going to read off some of the magic numbers, and then we'll do grades, and then we'll be out. All right? So some of the stats that I don't have on the screen, but I have it here. Right? I have it here. I actually print out a form, and I keep track of everything. So this is why I'm pretty sharp when I get on the mic. I'm able to just start calling stuff out. So I'm gonna start with the magic numbers. So I told you one of the magic numbers is 27 assists and 30 assists. When the Knicks get under 27 assists, under 27 assists, they're 12 and 22. So the 27 assist mark is a magical number. When they get above 27 assists, the Knicks record is 32-4. So sharing is caring. That's why tonight's game was a little wacky. You know, usually when the ball moves, they get the win. But there's another factor that tied into that. And I'm going to get, two other factors that tied into that caused that. So that's the assists. Okay. Now, see something. Okay. Yeah. I don't got it. I thought I had a screenshot, but it's all right. I'm going to read it off. So when the Knicks get 30 assists, that's the other magic number. When the Knicks get 30 assists, okay, the Knicks record is 22-2. Now, I believe they got over 30 assists tonight too, but they lost. 22-2 when they get over 30 assists. When the Knicks get under 30 assists, their record is 22-24. So the Knicks, when the ball is moving, they become problems. Mikal's going to be a beast come next year, just like OG has been this year. He'll know what to expect and train accordingly. In fact, yo, guys, even though, like I said, during this 10-game stretch hasn't been the greatest stretch, I went over that. I'm going to say this, though. I do agree with you, HRM the Great. I think that Mikal and the entire team, I think that we could be like Cleveland next year. I think we could be like Cleveland next year, especially if we make the right little tweaks to the roster. I really do believe in my heart, mind, body, and soul that we could be like the Cavs in terms of like just offensive consistency, because now you're starting to see, when you see the passing, these guys are starting to really know where each other's going to be. They're making good connections. I'm riding with you, HR and the Great. The other stat I'm going to get into is defensive rebound. I always say that. It's dominating. I call it DRM. Dominating the rebounding matchup. So DRM, stat by me. Salute to me. Okay. Salute to me. Is a stat that measures whether or not your team dominates the glass and what your record would be. So when the Knicks dominate the rebounding matchup, DRM, I'm sorry, I probably didn't create that. I'm pretty sure somebody else has the acronym, but I use it, DRM, okay? When we win the rebounding battle, we are 30-8. 30 wins, 8 losses. When we lose the rebounding battle during this stretch, of course, this is up until the 70-game mark, we are 12-17. So the Clippers tonight dominated the rebounding matchup. We were winning. When we were blowing them out early, we were like +5, +4, and then they just took over. So like when you watch Knicks games now, look at how many assists they get and look at the rebounding battle. If you watch those two elements, it'll give you an insight as to what's happening in the game. So that's the DRM. Okay. Now, when we shoot greater than 40% from 3, right? I track that stat. That's another magical number, 40% threes. Okay. So when we shoot above 40%, we're 21-4, unbeatable. And then when you combine these stats like assists, 27 assists with 40% from 3, it makes it even more crazy. So that's why I could look at a game. And you know what? Maybe I need to start doing some live picks too, because I know when we're going to lose. I know when we're going to win. Once we got to the second quarter, of course, in the Discord server, salute to everybody that's in the Discord server. I personally don't like to be just a negative dude in the chat while we're watching the game. But once I saw the way the second quarter ended, I was like, yeah, this game is going to be problematic. So why? Because I'm looking at 3-point percentage. I'm looking at assists, because I already track what our performances has been since when we have these numbers. Okay. So if we plus 40%, 21-4. When we don't reach the 40% mark, we are just barely a 500 team, above 500 team, 23-22. So we found ways to get wins, but a lot of our losses come when we don't shoot at that 40% mark. As far as, I'm not going to talk about Brunson because he's not here. I do got some Brunson barometers, but I'm going to go over to the big bodega, Karl Anthony Towns. Now, here's something that the Knicks didn't do during this stretch. Okay? Here's something that the Knicks, okay, I got to move a little bit. Here's something that the Knicks didn't do during this stretch. Anytime this is another magical number. Karl Anthony Towns, 27 points. Karl Anthony Towns, 27 points. When he gets 27 points or more, the Knicks are 17-4. So sometimes I'm watching the game, I'm looking at the big bodega. Is he involved in the game? Because sometimes, and recently, I'm going to tell you, during this last 10-game stretch, the big bodega has scored 27 or more only twice. Only twice. He shot 27 or more. Okay? Now, when he gets under 27 points, the Knicks are 24-17. So we're above 500, but the team is way more better when he scores 27 or more. In fact, let me see if I got the Brunson stat. When Brunson scores 30 or more, the Knicks is 15-7. So when I look at these stats, when I'm watching the game, I'm looking at Cat, I'm looking at Towns. One of them have to have it, because if either of those guys are getting their numbers, the team has great success. So when Brunson gets 30, 15-7. Cat gets 27 plus, 17-4. Magic numbers. Now, opponent defense. We talked about some of the stuff before. I have 38% and 40%. Those are the two numbers I keep track of. I'm going to start with 40%. When the opposing team shoots 40% and greater, the Knicks' record against these teams is 8-15. So the good news about that stat is, up until this point, of course, we only had 23 games where teams shot 40% and above. But when we hold teams to below 40%, we're 35-11, dominant. 38% is another magical number, because at the time, the reason why I got the 38% is because that was the average. That was an average. Let me see. Your man's hit the Rob Van. What are you talking about? 30 assists versus who? It don't matter. Don't matter. 30 assists versus who? Don't matter. When we get that mark, that's what our record is. Positive record. Don't matter who we playing. But tonight I think we did get 30 assists tonight, and we lost. Nothing is 100%. I'm just saying, when I'm analyzing how the game's going, I look at the numbers, because I'm dealing with probability. That's all it is probability. It's not 100%. So you can still lose and get, whatever the number is, right? Like Towns, I think, had more than 27 tonight, and they still lost. So, but rebounding is a major key. Rebounding, DRM dominating the rebounding matchup, that's a very important stat. So some things is kind of like a little bit more important or more impactful than others. So like for us, DRM and the opposing team's three-point percentage are the two most pivotal stats I found when watching Knicks games. If both of those things are negative, so if we're losing the DRM and the team is hot, shooting above 38% or 40%, yeah, we're going to lose. And look, when the team shoots greater than 38%, right? The Knicks record is 14-19. That's 38%. But that at the time, remember, we was giving up 38% in threes. That's why I came up with that number. When the team shoots under 38%, we are 29-7. Dominant. Not perfect, but dominant. Our record after a loss is 19-7, so I'm confident that we'll win our next game against Milwaukee. They're going through a lot of health issues. You know, not that we're wishing it on them. We wish them the best of luck. But I think Milwaukee is very vulnerable. And I foresee us getting that win. So, being that we have such a strong record after a loss, I expect the bounce back to be strong. And if you guys want to know about blowouts, we have 14 wins where we blow out teams by 20 or more. And also, and by the way, Knicks 100, I'll keep track of by who. I'm going to add that to my tracker. Can't do it now. It's 70 games in. But when I start, or if I'm like close to the beginning, then I'll add more stats. And there's more stats than this, but this is all I'm going to cover because I want people to rewatch the stream. But you said against who? Assists. So you know what I'll do? I'll mix in. I'll do like above 500, below 500. But once again, above 500, below 500 is a hard stat to track unless you got a research team, because it changes based on how they calculate it. Me, I keep it the same. I don't change it because I feel like you are what your record is at the time. So, but yeah, we got 14 wins by blowout. We lost 3 games at this point. 3 games by 20 or more. Okay? Blown out. Now, we lost 8 games by 15 or more. Okay? No, by 10 or more, sorry. So, I got 3 games by 20 or more. 10 by 15 or more. 10 by 15 or more. And as far as winning, we got 18 blowouts by 15 points. I'm sorry, 17, because can't count the Dallas game. But yeah, 17 blowouts. Very dominant team. Now, I want to give grades. This is going to be the final section, y'all. I want y'all to give grades with me. So we're going to grade the players. I'm going to go to the top 10 stats. And I want you guys, the top 10, the last 10 games of player stats. And I want you guys to tell me what grades you want to give these guys. I got their stats on the screen. I'm going to give my grades, and I'll read off your grades after. Where's my paper? Oh, yeah, I got too many notes around here. Okay, cool. So I'm going to give my grades. Y'all can give y'all grades too. I'm going to start with, we're going to skip JB. He only played 2 games. Remember, we're grading the 61 through 70 stretch, okay? We're grading the 61 through 70 stretch. So I'm going to give Karl Anthony Towns. I'm gonna give Cat a B. I'm gonna give Cat a B. OG Anunoby, oh man. OG gets an A for me. I'm sorry. 20 points, 37% from 3, 1.9 steals. Yeah, OG gets an A. Mikal Bridges, 19 points, 55% from the field. 36% from 3. He improved his defensive rating. I'm gonna give Mikal A-, because I feel like he should be the second option. That's the only demerit I'm giving him. Deuce McBride played 9 games, 10 points, shooting 34% from the field, 35% from 3. His defensive rating is really good. Playing good defense, though. Playing good defense. Giving you 1 point. How many steals? 1.2 steals. I'm going to give Deuce a B. only because of defense. I would have gave him a B minus or a C plus because I expected more on the offensive end, but he is playing point guard and he's also playing defense. Josh Hart, I love Hustle and Hart. Defensive rating is a little better. Rebounding is pretty much the same. 39% from the field, though, is not the greatest with 33% from three. I'm going to give Hart a B minus. Campaign. Coming off the bench mostly. Only 15 minutes, 6 points. 33% from the field. You're not really shooting efficient from the field. Sometimes he takes shots to make you think like what the world is going on. Campaign is a tough one. I'm going to give him a B minus. Mitchell Robinson, he only played 8 games, about 6 points, 6 rebounds. What is that? A block? Defensive rating really good. I'm going to skip Mitchell Robinson's rating. I don't think we got enough games. Landry Shamet. $17.9 minutes. He's getting more minutes than Cam. But he's only shooting 30% from three. I'm gonna give Shamet a B minus. Precious Achiuwa, 13 minutes. That's his fault, though. I think he's the reason to blame. I know Mitch is back. Wasn't really in the mix. I'm gonna give Precious a C plus. That's all the grades we gonna give. That's all the grades we gonna give, man. That's all the grades we gonna give. Let me see what you guys talking about, and then we're gonna get up out of here. Hart works on but Hart, look. Hart starting and his defensive rating is not bad. 109 is not bad for Josh Hart. Not bad. Knicks 100. Why are you tripping off of the? Okay, look. I'm gonna do this for Knicks 100, then we're gonna be up out of here, man. I'm gonna open up Basketball Reference because he's talking about the bad teams. Let me see what HRM the Great's talking about. Facts. The Memphis game, you're right about that. HRM the Great. Yeah, that Memphis game. Yeah. So we're not all right. So let me just explain this because I think people might have a twisted view when I bring up the stats. When I bring up the stats, it's based off probability, based off past performance. Doesn't mean it's like gambling. It's like, it doesn't mean that that's going to be the actual future outcome, but more than likely, because things tend to repeat themselves. If you're 30 and 6 at a particular thing, you have 6 losses. So we know it's not 100%. I'm just saying based off probabilities. And when you watch the game, just keep an eye out on rebounds. Keep an eye out on assists. Is the ball movement? But like I said, DRM, dominating rebounding matchup, and the opponent 3-point defense has been the 2 most pivotal stats. Okay, those stats have been the 2 most pivotal. So even if you got the 30 assists and you're shooting 40%, if the opponent is lighting us up, we tend to lose. So hold on, Knicks 100. You said it doesn't matter. Assist against bad teams. Okay, cool. So Is Sacramento a bad team? We got 34 assists against them. We had 40 against Dallas, but that's not, I'm not counting Dallas. That's not in this review. Miami's not a good team. We had 26 assists against Golden State. And Golden State has one of the top defenses since Jimmy Butler's gotten there. I don't know. I mean, we didn't play that many good teams. I mean, let's go back to a previous stretch. We had 33 assists against the Lakers. We lost. We had 37 assists against Indiana. Is Indiana a good team? 29 assists against Memphis. I told you the Magic number is 27. Are they a good team? Knicks 100? I'm doing this for you, Knicks 100. We had 25 assists against Cleveland. Not the greatest performance. So yeah, some of the assists are against good teams. That's why I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what you want me to say. But that's all for this video, guys. Thank you guys for rocking with me, man. Next week at this time, we will return to the after midnight stream. This is the Knicks and 10 show. I normally make this a members only show. The last 2 episodes were members only shows, but I figured I'll open it up for you guys. I want to thank you guys for watching the video. And like I said, you know, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, right? And also hit the bell icon. If you're subscribed, make sure that bell icon's on so you get all your notifications. Like the video so more cool people can check out the videos. And also, if you are a subscriber, consider joining the channel. You know, when you join the channel, you get a whole bunch of cool perks. And I'm going to share with you some of the perks you get when you join the channel. We got 2 tiers. We got the starter Knicks fan and the hardcore Knicks fan. I'm just going to talk about the starter Knicks fan right now so you can see whether or not where you get in, where you fit in. But for $4.99, you get access to the Knicks Tape Madness Discord server that I've been talking about all night. We have great chats in there. We just expanded the chat feature. So not only do we got the 24/7 NBA chat, NFL chat, the 24/7 NBA chat, 24/7 Knicks chat, and 24/7 Fight Fans Only chat, we opened up a 24/7 NFL chat because some of the guys wanted to talk football. And we also opened up a 24/7 other sports chat. So if there's any other sports that people might be into, y'all could all chat there, like WNBA, baseball, whatever. So we opened up the chat. Knicks Tape Madness Discord server. You get access to that. I'm in there. It's the greatest way to extend the conversation with me. Also, when you become a member, we got members only live shows and chats. Like I said, we do parlay builders. Let's hit these picks together, try to, you know, make some money. And typically the after midnight stream is a member show. I've been opening up to everyone, but yeah, you get, you know, private shows. I do a video series called Unfiltered Thoughts where I really, you know, I tackle things that are not really for the algorithm of YouTube, right? So I just say it like that. Priority reply to comments. If you're a member, usually your chats pop up in the chat and I get to read them first. Also, you know, polls, wherever you want to chat, I tend to give the members, you know, more priority because they help grow the machine. Like I said, we have status updates. I mean, I'll put up stuff from, you know, basketball game footage. By the way, I will be filming some more basketball stuff this summer. You know, when I go to the park, working out, I'll be filming all that stuff. All that was going to go to the members mostly. Of course, members get shouted out and members get more extended discounts on merch. Instead of the 10%, you get the 20%. You could go get yourself a Captain 11 mug. Okay, shop at theobjectiveknicksfan.com. But and there's more. This is what you get when you become a member. Just wanted to share that with you guys. And Crimes Dad in the building. Why you got the tired face, Crimes Dad? Go to sleep, Crimes Dad. It's past your bedtime. It's past your bed. Wait, Knicks 100, you said 30, not 29? No, I said 27 and 30. Knicks 100. Not sure if you was paying attention. You know what? For the last Knicks and 10 show, I got to put these stats on the screen because these stats I actually write down. Okay? These stats I actually write down. So you probably can't read it because my handwriting is not the greatest. But I have 30 assists and I have 27 assists. The reason why I have 27 assists is because 27 assists is what they average. The reason why I have 30 assists is because a lot of their best games offensively has been when they had 30 plus assists. And I think it was a stat I heard on MSG. So once I heard it, I just started tracking it myself. That's what I do. Like, so if someone, says a stat, I'll keep like the wins after a loss, right? They was talking about on MSG. I keep track of it myself. So yeah, sometimes I just discover stats and I just, if I hear some, I track it myself. So I did talk about 27 assists for the record. But that's all for this video, man. We got Crimes Dad yawning. This is the Knicks and 10 show. That's all I got for you guys. So until next time. Oh, wait, hold on. Before we go, this Friday, Knicks call-up show, 10:45 p.m. I don't think we do got a game. So I already know if we lose, it's going to be crazy. Make sure you're there, 10:45. Hold on. This is the upcoming program. Knicks call-up. Parlay Sundays, members only, right? At noon. This week inside the Knicks at noon. Mondays, that's the new time for the pod. And then Tuesdays, wait, this is an old schedule. That's not even the most up-to-date schedule. But either way, I forgot to upload it. That's fine. That's fine. As a matter of fact, actually, I could show you guys in research mode because I am on the channel and I did post it. So hold on. Let's go through the right schedule. Okay, bam. See, right here. This is the schedule. Okay, cool. Friday, Knicks call-up, 10:45. Sunday, Parlay Sundays at noon. Monday, this week inside the Knicks at noon. Thursday, after midnight stream, 12:40. Basically, the time that we were here tonight. So that's all I got for you guys. And until next time, go Knicks.